Let me give you a tip that if you do this, it will shift a lot of things in your life a lot quicker. And it's based on how memory works in the brain. Because on Saturday, the 14th of September, and it'll be recorded if you want to watch the class later, I'm doing a class on memory reconsolidation, how to change some of those memories that may be holding you back from achieving your goal. But here's a little known fact that I've never heard anyone else talk about. Let's say you have a goal, you're working toward a goal, or there's something that you dream, you have this dream, and then something happens that goes, wow, I could do this, or it's close. Okay, as soon as that's over, you have a memory. How do you encode that memory in your brain? Where do you put it? What do you think about it, right? And in other words, when it happens, is it for you, you start thinking about this is the norm. This is how it should be. This is my, as Tony Robbins and a lot of people would talk about, this is my new standard. This is what I want. If you do that, that'll actually start to rewrite old memories that might be holding you back from achieving it. Because whenever you think about something, and I'll give you a technique and a tip that I'll share during the class, but I'll do that today for you, that will re-encode some things in your brain. Because a lot of times you have these memories that might be holding you back. And again, hypnotists get too caught up in initial sensitizing event. That may be true, it may be not. There may be no initial memory. It may be a contemplation of memories. It could be a lot of things. But it's basically based on a flawed sense of how your memory works. Because every time you access a memory or a feeling with the memory, it brings it from the deep subconscious mind and brings it up into consciousness. And at that moment, for the next couple, for a while after you access the memory, it's malleable, it's changeable. This is how you grow and adapt. They use the analogy of, it's how humans learn to hunt. It's how, you had an experience and, oh, I can't do that. Like, we can't kill this buffalo. And then you learned how to kill the buffalo as a tribe. Well, it kind of rewrote the memory. So now, yes, we can do this. It's also why it gives you an insight. You always hear motivational speakers talk about once someone breaks a boundary, it's easy for other people to break it. The one they typically use was 1955 when I think it was Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, because before that you had cardiologists, you had medical experts, pathologists who study how people die, all that. They were said that if the human body could not do that, the heart would explode, your blood pressure would either, I forget which they said, it would either spike and kill you or crash, whatever it was physically impossible. Suddenly, Roger Bannister breaks the 4-minute mile, not by much, if I remember right. And then suddenly, a lot of people started breaking the 4-minute mile. Because also think about memory, sometimes you see other people do it, you go, so it can be done. It can be done. So it's kind of interesting, right? And that's what happens here. So when you have that experience, now you start thinking, okay, you encode that memory, and then you bring up times like, I tried this before and it didn't work. Then you think about this memory, it will go back and start to rewrite those older memories. Like, I don't know if I could do this. And again, I use a couple of analogies. One is a sports analogy. When a truly elite performer is, having a game, it's a bad game, Football analogy, they throw 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions. You always see it because it's how they're thinking about their memory. When they're being asked afterwards, they'll say it's a one-off. I got things I can learn, but it's not going to happen again. They're not encoding that memory like, I'm horrible, right? That's why a good coach, basically, 3 weeks from today is basically it. Anyway, so, and I'm playing a key character in it, the antagonist. And so we're talking and, like what his interpretations of the character is, how to do certain things, how to incorporate it. And then he asked my feedback. So I gave that. And so we collaborate. It's a true collaboration, which is something I've dreamed of, right? It's something I always wanted. And I've done a lot of film. I've been blessed. But a lot of times show up, you do your little bit and you go, right? They're hiring you to do this. And usually the directors and the writers and the producers, rightfully so, spend an awful lot of their focus on the key characters, especially in pre-production. Then when you get to the production, then they can expand out to everybody, right? but it was like, what, literally, it's like, whoa, this is what I always wanted. This is, and it reminded me a little bit. So when I started thinking about it, I'm like, I have to remember this is the new norm. This is what I expect. This is what I want to do, right? And if whatever it is doesn't rise to that, doesn't fit my standard, maybe it shouldn't be done. It kind of goes back to, and again, because of old memories, it starts coming up. Oh, are you sure? You know, you got to do this. You got, and then but something from another part of my acting world kicked in, which is theater. I've done theater since I got out of the Army. And after I started doing the leads, whether it's, Tom in Glass Menagerie, a lot of the leads in Neil Simon, all that, I would talk to the director. And there was more than once, sometimes I would be up for a role and I would talk to the director, and it wasn't the kind of person I'd want to work with. They weren't a collaborative thing. It was either do it this way, or they just left it totally open and gave you very little feedback. So anyway, and there's no right or there's no wrong. It's just like, this is true. So I need to encode this memory of what just happened as this is the norm. This is what's going to happen, right? And again, it's kind of like what you see other people do. And I've seen other people do it. So if you're stuck, and this works whether, and think about, when people break a plateau in their weight, right? So they're trying to lose weight and kind of stuck. And then they get to a plateau, whatever it is, say they want to get down to, this weight, 130, and they're way up there, like 160 or 70. But their plateau when they start losing weight is 150, whatever their plateau is, right? Well, if you break 150, if you're following your diet, you break that, then suddenly, your brain's looking for how does this store? It's like, no, this is the norm. This is what it should be, right? And then you go. It's also why then if you don't do that, when you hit that plateau, it's almost like a hard stop. And so then you'll start going back up. And so much like breaking the 4-minute mile, much like getting to the next level. And this is true. I was on a call the other day, a guy was teaching a class, and he talked about it a little bit about income, about hitting income thresholds. And again, there's things we can do. And a lot of this I'll be talking about in the class on Saturday, September 14th, memory reconsolidation. Go to Horton Psychology, HORTON PSYCHOLOGY.com. The class is there, or just direct message me and I'll send you some info. It's going to be a fun class. It's only 3 hours on Saturday afternoon, give you some more techniques and tips on how to do some of this stuff, because sometimes it's those things you can't quite remember because you might have memories that were formed that don't have words because either you were too young to form the words, or you were in a highly charged emotional event where that part of your brain that makes words is shut off. So it's encoded as feelings, as senses, as a felt sense, is the current buzzword in psychology. So if you have any questions, reach out. I hope everybody's doing well. Have a great day.